Hey there, it's Megan, and welcome to another weekly episode of the Momentum with Megan Facebook Live show that happens every Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, right here inside of your Facebook group community, Structured Freedom for Impact-Driven Coaches. I'm really excited for today's message and conversation that we're going to have all about taking your launches from meh to mind-blowing. So before we dive into the content today, I got to show you my new water bottle. Anybody want to see my new water bottle? It is large and in charge of my life these days. So this is an entire gallon jug. It is bigger than the size of my head. Can you see that? People always ask me, like, it literally covers my face. Is that really a gallon? It really is. So I got this from Amazon. You can see it shows the ounces there, and then you can see on this side by what time of day. So it's 4 o'clock. I am right on track, and it's telling me not to give up. Or actually, I'm all the way down at 5 o'clock. So quick, super simple question to get your juices flowing. How much water do you drink in a day? I am clearly drinking a gallon of water a day these days. It has literally worked wonders for me in so many areas of my life. I've been doing this program. Some people call it a challenge, but it's a program called 75 Hard, hashtag 75 Hard. If you just look up hashtag 75 Hard, you'll go find all kinds of information on it. A bunch of my clients are doing it together too. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail here, but I was thinking, so many people have seen my stories on my personal page that I'm doing this. I'm on day 8 today. So I think I'm going to start doing a Facebook Live, just sort of like an update recap at the end of every week or so of the 75 days, which means I probably need to do it today on my personal page. So check that out. I have learned so much about this process just in 8 days, and I've had incredible results already. So how much water are you drinking, entrepreneur? And I'll share with you, if you want to be more focused, more clear-minded, and remember more things, and feel even more creative daily, and not get tired by like 3 o'clock, just drink more water. It is literally a game changer, especially when we have these lights in front of our faces all day too. It dries your eyes out. So if you're here watching us live, go ahead and say, hey, 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 I see you. And I need to figure out how to be able to see who you are. So I'm on Be Live. So on Be Live, you have to like give Be Live permission. I need to figure out what that link is. So if you're here listening live or to the replay, just pop your name into the chat so I can actually see that. So we're going to talk about launching today. I have a really, really great training planned. First, I'm going to go through the pros and cons of launching. And then I'm going to give you, I think I have 6 or 7 or so, maybe 5 points. Yes, it's the drop in the day sometimes. So I'm going to give you like 5 or 6 points on how to like literally take your launches from meh to mind-blowing. I could sit here all day and talk to you about how to do that. I was actually with a group of my clients earlier today for 3.5 hours, just talking about this one framework, my Launching Made Easy framework. And we were like, we could stay here until 10 p.m. tonight. I mean, the conversation was so rich. There's just so many little nuances that we can be discussing. And we just didn't have time for that. So I'm going to try to keep this under an hour, which means I have an agenda in front of me. I'm actually going to use the screen here so that you can see what I'm talking about. It's going to show up at the bottom of the screen in red there. And stay until the end because I have a couple of really special announcements. I'm going to talk a little bit about our upcoming Launching Made Easy workshop, but I have a really cool bonus just for signing up for the free 5-day workshop. And this is the first time I've done this, and I've been doing this process now for 13 months. And I've done it, I think 7 times now. I don't know if this is going to be my 7th or my 8th time doing it, but I've never done an exclusive, really special bonus for people who have physically registered for the Launching Made Easy workshop. And we have something this time. And it's really cool. So you got to stay until the end of this, or if you're catching a replay, make sure you stay until the end, because you're going to hear me tell you what that is. So let's dive in. I would love to see from you. Hey, Leslie. Hey, Madeline. Good to see you. And if you're here, let me know that you are by just stating your name in the chat, because every single one of your faces, it's like a blank face and it says Facebook user. I'm on Be Live. So share your name when you're here. I want to hear from all of you who here has actually, I don't care if you did it formally. I'm not worried about whether or not you followed a format of any kind, but who here has actually launched a program? Like you have done a launch. You didn't just make a post that said, hey, join my group. I have this program to sell, book a call. That would not be considered a launch. That's something that all of us should be doing anyway, like very consistently making posts with calls to action to join our program or get on a call with us. But I mean, you have followed a particular launch strategy or some sort of launch structure that you've learned from someone somewhere. It doesn't matter. I'm not interested in what it was necessarily. I just want to see, have you like launched and tried to fill a group coaching program ever in the past? Tried to, meaning like it didn't work, or you have done it successfully? Yes. Just give me a yes if you have. It helps me see where you're at. So if you're listening to this, then I imagine your launches are probably not performing at the level that you desire them to perform. I also have a guess that your launches are probably not performing at the level that, to the degree that you are actually as magnificent and masterful in your body of work as you are. And what I mean by that is, for all of you who are, or for you, I'm talking to one person, right? Because you're sitting over there by yourself listening. You're not in an auditorium with 1,000 people. So I'll talk to you. So what I mean by that is you are so incredible at your craft. You know that when you connect with someone who is the most ideal client, that it is absolutely magical, that the results are incredible. You already know when you work with someone, the results you help someone achieve, it is mind-blowing. And what gets really, really frustrating when growing a business is knowing how amazing you are at your body of work, knowing just how effective you are when working with clients, knowing the caliber of client experience that you deliver. Yet when you are in like the building of your business and the marketing and the sales and filling your programs, there's this part of you that is also really bummed that more people don't get to experience that transformation with you. There's also a part of you that might be really bummed that you have tried many different ways, or you tried many different iterations to fill your group. And no matter what process or mechanism or program or framework or structure you have implemented, you are still not seeing the results that A, you know you're capable of, B, that you desire, and C, it's like we put all this time and effort into honing our craft, building our businesses, pouring into people, you know, for like 3 people to join your program, and for 3 or 5 or 10 or whatever it is for you. And then you're working with them for 6 months or 9 months for a year. And I've certainly experienced that. And it's frustrating, it's annoying, it's irritating. And there's this like little thought in the back of your mind wondering like, when am I ever going to crack the code? Is the code ever going to be cracked for me? Can I really do this? And then I think for all of us, when the marketing and the sales piece isn't functioning at the caliber that we desire for it to, I think for all of us who are really good at what we do, by the way, that you almost question if you're actually as good as you think you are. And so there's like a little bit of imposter syndrome there. And I believe that the only people who actually have imposter syndrome are the people who are masterful at their craft. When people suck at what they do, they don't have imposter syndrome. So let's dive in. There are really only 4 categories of what is potentially not actually working in your launches. So I'm going to share each one of those with you. And I would love to hear your feedback on which of the 4, it might be one, it might be more than one, that is the kink in the chain. So the cool thing about having a process and doing something enough times that you can evaluate and study the patterns, it allows you to see exactly where something is not working in your, we'll just call it like a sales process. So when I say the word sales process, that is not just the sales conversation. The sales process is actually someone being a stranger to you, finding out that you exist, whether they are like, and then interacting with you in some way, opting into something, going through whatever sequence, whether it's organic or it's automated, doesn't matter. Coming into your Facebook group, listening to your videos like this, going through your launch, and then saying yes to your program. So from start to finish, that's actually the entire sales process. It's not just your sales conversation. So, you know, when it comes to marketing and sales and filling programs, you always want to keep it extremely basic and very, very simple. And when you keep it basic and you keep it simple, what's not working becomes very, very obvious. And if it's not obvious what's not working to you or to your mentor or your coach or whoever you're working with, if they can't even figure it out, that's a big sign. It's like a red flag that you've just created a lot of chaos and a lot of complication and a lot of confusion, even in how you are running your own business. So if there's like too many moving parts and pieces, if you're trying too many different things, if you're layering things on top of each other to cover up the real problem so that it becomes very, very hard to actually excavate what that problem is, then it's really hard to actually fix it and figure out what do we need to slightly tweak just a little bit. But you want to know, you want to be able to put your finger on exactly what the problem is. That's what I love doing. I love someone coming to me who's already been implementing. You've already been implementing, you've already been trying, attempting, whatever, and you've had some success, but it's so below where you know you are actually capable of and what you're actually meant for. And because of how freakishly amazing you are at your craft, everybody should know, not everybody, but like, you know what I'm saying, your ideal client, you need more people who you can transform, because then there's that ripple effect. So I love when somebody is already an implementer, because all you have to do is kind of like open up the book and you can just turn the pages and you can literally see exactly why they're not hitting their numbers. You can see exactly why they're not reaching their specific goals from like a strategic perspective, from a high level overview. So that's what I love doing. I love being able to look down on your whole entire business and I can literally put my finger on exactly why it's not working. That's a good thing, because what most people are doing is they are making guesses and assumptions as to why whatever they are deploying isn't working, especially if you are not working with a coach or a mentor who can look at it from a strategic perspective, ask you the right questions, someone who's already been there, done that, made all the mistakes you could possibly make, and is unemotionally attached to the way you do it and your body of work. And I'm not emotionally attached to your business. You're emotionally attached to your business. It's really hard to point out and poke holes in your own business when you're emotionally attached to it. So that's why I love having a mentor and a coach because I can't see my own stuff. And I want that pointed out to me because then you can fix it immediately. You want to know what to fix. So here are those 4 areas. So the first one is, are you generating the right number of leads? So one of the reasons why potentially you're not hitting your enrollment numbers in your group coaching program or any program, it doesn't really matter, but I tend to talk a lot about groups. It could be that you're just quite simply, from a numbers perspective, that is part of business, numbers, you don't have enough. So if you want to take a couple of notes, only about 3% of anyone who's in front of you at any given time when you are making an offer is ready to say yes. 3%. There is another 67% over here. The other 30% will never buy from you. And they're in your audience, but they'll never buy from you. So don't even talk to them. But you have this other 67%. Your job is to move this more of the 67% into the 3%. Your 3% is like lowest hanging fruit. So you should always have low hanging fruit in your business. You should always have low hanging fruit every single time you make an offer. So if we know that at any given time, when we are making an offer, that only 3% of the people listening and consuming are ready to buy, then we need to crunch some numbers before we launch. So one of the things that I hear people say is they'll launch for like the first time and they'll say, I want 20 people to join my program. And where they're very much out of reality first is that they think they can make all 20 of those sales if only like 50 to 100 people sign up for their conversion event, right? So, you know, you might hear me call it a conversion event, a launch event, but I teach my framework, which is basically like 9 days. You're in front of your audience for 9 straight days. And 5 of those days you are in sales mode, inviting them to join your program. And so they want 20 people to join, but then they only have like 50 to 70, maybe 100 people sign up. Well, out of all the people who sign up, only about 30 to 40% of those people are even going to show up. So out of 100, maybe 30 to 40 people are going to show up. 20 is way more than 3% of 30 to 40. So then people get so bent out of shape because they only made 1 sale or because they only made 2 sales. Well, one of the first things I'm going to look at is how many people were actually showing up and consuming your content leading up to and when you made the offer. And if you only had like 20 people showing up, not all 20 people are going to buy. That's 100% of the people listening to you ready to buy. It is proven data. This is not a made up stat by Megan. It is proven that 3% of any of our audiences, any of our communities are ready to buy at the moment we make the offer. Now, the other 67%, some of them could be ready tomorrow. Some of them can be ready in 4 days. Some of them can be ready in a year, and anything in between. So running your numbers is very, very important. I like to run my numbers, 3% is the lowest of the low. But I also like to run, well, if I have a conversion rate of like 6%, what do I need? If I have a conversion ratio of 10%, how many do I need to register? If I have a conversion ratio of 20%, which is actually what I typically see. I personally typically see a conversion rate of 20%. So knowing that, I've done this enough times though that I know my conversion rate is 20%. One of the things we're going to talk about today is repetition, because you don't even know those numbers until you've repeated the same thing enough times and you know what your conversion ratio is. That allows you to predict how many people need to sign up. So are you generating the right number of leads to actually fulfill your enrollment goal? Number 2 here, are you generating the right quality leads? So you could generate 600 people to sign up for your launch event and only 3 people buy. Were they the right quality leads? Were they ready to buy? Have you spent enough time training them to buy? You know, then we can get into the whole, like, did you offer them what they actually wanted? How are your sales skills? But sometimes it's just not the right quality people, and the offer you're making is not congruent to the people that you've attracted to the free event or your launch. So that would be number 2, kind of like a big problem we need to fix. Number 3, are you generating the number of sales to reach your enrollment goal? So let's say the leads are coming in, they're the right leads, but you're not converting enough people to reach your enrollment goal. So if your enrollment goal is 20 and you're always converting between like 6 and 12 people, but there's enough leads, they're the right leads, there's something going on with the sales. And it's probably more than just your ability to pitch. There's other things that you're probably not doing. So what I find, I always work with my clients on, there are so many ways to make a sale. Let me rephrase that. There's other parts and pieces to a sale being a lot easier to make, in addition to and added onto the sales conversation alone. So most people are putting like everything into the sales conversation, but like, what did you do leading up to the sales conversation? What did you do after the conversation if it didn't close? So there's like this lead up, and then there's this follow up if they didn't say yes. But most people are trying to put all the pressure on that one sales conversation to do all the work for them. And that's one of the things that I help my clients do, because they think that it's just that sales conversation and they just didn't overcome the objection, or they don't know how to overcome the objection. And like, that's usually not the actual problem. So there could be a sales problem. And then the 4th one here, and I would love to hear from you, which one is it for you? Are you implementing a proven, predictable, and repeatable process to fill your group program? So you could already have a group. You could have been running this group for a while, but every single time you open the enrollment up for new people to join, you're doing it in a completely different way. Or you're doing it in like slightly different variations of the same way. But there's not like this one consistent, proven process, predictable process, or strategy, or set of steps that you're literally repeating almost identically every single time. And so you don't actually know what's working and what's not working. That's the biggest problem with not having a proven process that's predictable and repeatable. If you're trying a lot of different things every time you want a new group of people to come in, then you don't even know what is creating your success. And the random times that you do have success, you don't know how it happened, because you're not tracking it, you're not repeating it, and then you don't know how to recreate that again. That's actually one of the biggest mistakes in launching, is that folks are trying it in a completely different way every single time, instead of getting really, really good at one way and mastering it, because you start to see patterns, you know what works, you know what doesn't work. It becomes super easy. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I would love to hear from you. Which one of the 4, or maybe multiple, which one of those categories are you falling into? Not generating enough leads, not generating quality leads, not generating enough sales. So the leads are there, but the sales aren't converting, or you don't have an actual proven, repeatable, predictable process. So which one of those do you fall into? Just let me know in the comments, either one of those. All right, let's move on to our next section. I want to talk about some pros and cons of launching, because launching can actually have a really bad rap. And I use the word launch. There's a part of me that doesn't even like to use that word because of that, but everybody knows what that word means, so it's just so easy. Let me take a sip of water here. I'm on like my 5th hour of talking today, so my voice is feeling it. All right, so pros and cons of launching. Launching can get a really bad rap because a lot of the examples that all of us have grown up with in this industry has a tale of burnout, exhaustion, health is failing, have to take a hiatus or sabbatical from my business because I'm just like so spent. I remember I got an email from someone. I was on this person's list, and this was about 2 years ago. And I got an email from them, and it was somebody who I've never purchased from. I never really paid attention to, but I knew the name. And the email, the subject line, it made me open it because it was like an apology type of thing. And it was like letting you know where I've been for the last 4 months. And I was like, that's strange, because I knew who the person was and I knew that they were really successful. And so I opened up the email, and I was shocked, and I shouldn't have been shocked. I've been around long enough to see this so many times. And the person wrote this whole big long email about how they had to take 4 months off from their business. I don't remember what island, but they went to an island and literally like hibernated on this island for 4 months. And they said they hated their business. They wanted to completely change their business model. They had lost their reason why they were actually doing what they were doing. And it just became all about the automation, all about the sequence, all about the funnel, all about just like pumping people through and all about making money. And they felt super inauthentic, and they were burnt out, and they were overweight, and they were not taking care of their bodies, and they were not taking care of their mind. And so, and that they actually attributed that to the launch cycle in their business, which is not the kind of launch I teach. So I get it. A lot of people have this fear without ever launching the right way that it's just going to like tear them down, burn them out. They're going to have to sacrifice all this time with family and freedom and all these things. So I get it, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. So let's talk about some of the pros first. Let's talk about some of the pros of launching. So number one, when you launch, this also is kind of a con too. We'll get to that. So one of the pros of launching is you have a cash infusion. And what that means is there is a substantial amount of money that all comes into your bank account at one time. So for instance, if you have a program that is $5,000 and 10 people join your program and half of them pay in full, that means $25,000 is sitting in your bank account immediately. And let's say that the other 5 people are on a payment plan, and your payment plan is $1,000 payments, and 50% of them are on the payment plan. That is another $5,000. You just had an influx of $30,000, kind of almost overnight, that is now sitting in your bank account. And the way I teach to launch is to launch multiple times following my Launching Made Easy framework throughout the year. So I launch every other month. That means I get in 6 launches a year, and sometimes I might throw in a 7th. So even if all I did ever was, $50,000 launches every single time, launching 6 times, that's $300,000 for the year. And if 50% of that was coming in full, and then 50% was payment plans for $1,000, that's $30,000 every single time in cash coming through. I don't even know if I did my math right. So you have a cash infusion. Now it's thinking about what that cash infusion allows you to do. What that cash infusion allows you to do is you take a percentage of that you would have pre-decided to allocate to an area that will help you grow your business. And everybody's at a different place in their business. So you need to know where you need to invest your dollars so that you can grow. But I remember when I launched using this particular framework, Launching Made Easy, that I teach, I've launched in other ways. But when I started doing this, my first launch brought in, it was like $92,000 or $93,000 or something. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think about $54,000 or $56,000 came in all at once. And then I had payment plans, but then I keep launching every other month. So then every other month, there's like this another really big cash pop and then more payments. But I remembered that one. And then kind of combined with the second one, I was able to hire 4 team members. So it was hiring the 4 team members for me specifically, that because that's what I wanted and it's what my business needed based on where I'm going. That's what I wanted to do. So that allowed me, my payroll literally like quadrupled overnight. But had I not had that bigger investment of money, I don't know that I would have hired as quickly as I did and had been able to do what I've been able to do now that I have those people in those particular positions. The other area that you really want to be investing in is lead generation. But if you're not creating an excess of cash beyond just lifestyle and paying the bills, then it becomes very, very difficult to even get your mind wrapped around investing in lead generation. But lead generation for every single one of us, if we're not generating leads, at some point you run out of people. So cash infusion is one of the pros and what you can do with that cash in terms of reinvesting. Pro number 2 is you become known for one thing. And that is incredibly important. I've been using this phrase recently called become and create a league of your own. So this is not about, let me just be the best in my field. Let me just be the best in my category. This is about you creating a league of your own. And out of all the people I have studied and watched building coaching businesses, the people who are the most well-known have what's called a flagship group coaching program. Usually it's a little bit higher end. So this is not something that costs $2,000. This is something that minimum is $3,000 and own up to $10,000, $12,000, even $15,000. Usually the sweet spot you see is like $5,000 to $7,500 for a flagship group coaching program. Usually it could be go in either direction too. But it's that flagship group program because there's so many more people coming through that than just working with people one-on-one. And you start creating a lot of success stories. So not only are you known for this flagship group program, but your flagship group program is all based on, and it's shining a spotlight on your signature system. So now you become known for the signature system. Now you become known because so many people are going through your program that you're getting so many more results for people. So now you have more success stories. Now you have more people talking about what you're doing. And then you're kind of consistently rolling this program out for enrollment. And so now there's all this buzz about you in this program. But the program is based on a specific process or signature system or signature framework that you are known for. That's what really puts you on the map. Nobody really gets put on the map because they're working with people one-on-one. So if you want to grow, if you want to look, and I don't teach this, I don't teach like get on podcasts, but if you want to get on podcasts, if you want to be interviewed, if you want to be on stages, if you want to make multiple 6 and even into 7 figures, if you want to be invited to be in certain telesummits or whatever it is that you want to do, and you want people kind of doing invisible marketing on your behalf, then a flagship group coaching program based on your signature system, the program that you are known for, the body of work that you desire to be known for, that is absolutely the way to go, way sooner than later. One more pro, and then we're going to get into some cons. Pro number 3, you get to stop reinventing the wheel. So this is the third pro of launching, especially when you're going to follow a certain particular proven process or framework that is repeatable. You get to stop reinventing the wheel. The number one mistake that you are probably making in your business is you are not repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Specifically, the way in which you are enrolling people into your program. So if you want to have more than just a handful of people ever in your program, then you are going to want to produce some sort of launch event that is a repeatable process, that is authentic to you, that is aligned, that is doable, so that you know exactly what works and what doesn't work, and you can stop reinventing the wheel. I see people reinventing the wheel all the time, and it totally slows them down. Plus, you want to give yourself the opportunity to be masterful, not just in your craft, but in what is going to actually enroll people into your program. All right, now for some cons. Cons of launching. Con number 1, you cannot just rely on launches. You can't. Why? Because not every launch is going to go well for you. And if you just rely on the launches and you've got nothing in between them, and you have no system or process in place or no other offers in place to sell and to generate cash flow, and you're relying on a launch that maybe doesn't go as well, then you are kind of up the creek without a paddle in between those launches. So you cannot just rely on launches alone. You have to have other things going on in your business in between launches. So this is not something that you can just launch all the time and you're done. Plus, you know, at some point, launching, like only relying on launches, it's a whole lot of unnecessary pressure and stress that you're putting on yourself, that you've got to be such a performer during that time, because it's the only thing you're relying on. Con number 2, they don't always go extremely well. So just because you even get masterful at launching does not mean that they always go the way that you desire for them to go. You know, technology could fail you. I actually had a client, she turned her launch around, but all of the reminder emails that were going out to the registrants, reminding them about going live each day, they didn't go out. They went out to the wrong group of people. So there's lots of things out of our control. You know, I'll share this with you. You know, Michael Jordan is like greatest basketball player who ever played. Did he always have a great game? Did he win every single game? Did he win every championship he played in? The US Open is happening right now. I was catching some of the tennis match with Serena Williams yesterday. Does Serena win every match she plays? Does she win every Grand Slam she plays in? No. Sometimes they go horribly wrong. Sometimes she gets all the way to the end and she loses out. So your launches are going to be similar, right? Like not every single launch you do is going to go exceptionally well. The other con of launching, it doesn't matter what direction you go in or the way in which you are building your business, whether it's launching or anything you do to grow a phenomenal business is going to take time and energy. It's also going to, I should have also put in here, it's going to cost you money. I don't care what it is. You are going to spend those 3 things: energy, time, and money. So your job is to pick where you desire to direct your time, energy, and money, and direct your attention there so that it actually grows. But there's no way that if you desire to make money through a business that you're going to spend no time, no energy, and no money doing it. Even if you've got other people doing it for you, that's still your money because you're paying them to do it. So let's get into some of these points about really changing your launch so that it goes from just meh to absolutely mind-blowing. And like I said, I could probably make a list of 100 things here, but we're going to keep it to 5 or 6. So number 1 is, this is something that we teach all of our clients in our Momentum program or any way that I work with clients. And typically it is one of the biggest breakthroughs and epiphanies, quite frankly, that our clients have, that A, nobody has ever taught them, and B, they've never thought about, And C, because number 1 and number 2 or A and B didn't happen, they're not incorporating it into any of their messaging and positioning. So if you get nothing from today, walk away with this right here, because this will completely change your launches and this will completely change your business. And it is asking yourself the question, what must my ideal client believe? What must my ideal client believe? My ideal client must believe something different than your ideal client must believe. Unless you and I have the exact same ideal client and we do the exact same thing and you're teaching the exact same thing I teach in the exact same way I teach it. So when it comes to, here's a couple of specifics about what I mean by this. What I don't mean is my ideal client must believe that they can pay me. My ideal client must believe that they can do it. My ideal client must believe in themselves. Well, that's everybody. Like for any of us selling anything, of course, our clients all have to believe that. But what I'm talking about is specific to your signature body of work. Let's take launching as an example. If you don't believe in the Launching Made Easy framework as the number one way for you to launch and fill your group coaching programs, then I have not done my job on the marketing side, and you are not going to join Momentum. So if you don't believe in the Launching Made Easy framework, you don't join Momentum. Even if you like me, even if you trust me, even if you show up and listen to every single one of my videos and you comment on every single one of my posts, if you don't believe that the Launching Made Easy framework is going to work for you, and that it is like the best, most simple, high touch, low tech, repeatable, proven, predictable framework to launch and fill your flagship group coaching programs, you are never going to buy my program. In fact, you're probably never going to work with me. Number 2, if you do not believe that the way for you to become a league of your own and become well known and to hit your revenue goals and to spend less time in your business is through a flagship group coaching program, you are not going to work with me. I have to get you to believe that the way to go is a flagship group coaching program. I also have to get my audience to believe in the power of momentum, which for me, that is simplicity, focus, and repetition. If you do not believe that you need to repeat, be focused, and follow a simple strategy, system, and structure, you're not going to work with me. You're going to go do something else that's way more complicated. So for me, this is just an example. I have to get my audience to believe in those 3 things, or they are not buying when I make the offer. So not only are you incorporating this in your launch, because that is like the big thing that you're doing in your launch, but you also want to help your audience start believing that before you ever get to your launch. So if you see the content I talk about all the time, I'm always talking about the Launching Made Easy framework. I'm always talking about groups. I'm always talking about simplicity. I'm not just talking about it in the launch, but because I'm talking about it in between my launches, you are starting to believe that that is something that's really going to work for you, so that when you're inside of the actual launch event, I'm not trying to overcome all of those beliefs and getting you to believe that in like 3 days' time, because you're already part of the way there. What you're really focusing on when it comes to what do you have to get your audience to believe, it is based on your signature system. Like I said, it's not, they just need to believe in themselves. They just need to believe that they can do it. Like everybody needs to believe that. But what do they need to believe about your signature system? Another example is Russell Brunson with ClickFunnels. So he has to get people to believe that in order for them to even have a successful online business, they have to be doing funnels. They have to do funnels. And if you don't do funnels, never going to work for you. Then the second thing he has to get people to believe is that the only way to build a funnel is through ClickFunnels. Because why on earth would you go buy ClickFunnels if you did not believe that you had to have funnels and that ClickFunnels was the only way for you to build funnels in order to have a successful online business? You would never buy ClickFunnels. He would never make any sales. So all of his marketing, and especially when he's launching, that is his number one job, to get you to believe that. And that, my friend, is probably the biggest missed opportunity in all of your marketing, in all of your messaging, in all of your positioning, in the way that you are launching and trying to fill your group coaching programs. You are not talking about the right things that your ideal client has to believe before they ever say yes to you, so that they will say yes to joining your program. All right. Number 2, hope that was a big aha for you. Number 2, to turn your launches from meh to mind-blowing, you want to schedule in leading up to your launch. And if you are going to do the Launching Made Easy framework, that is a 9-day process from start to finish. Starts on a Monday, ends on a Tuesday. It's just 9 days. Literally, you could be making multiple 6 figures in 9 days. The more you do this, if that is your goal, whatever your goal is, you can hit it doing this. But I teach a 3 to 4 week runway leading up to that day 1. Most people, before they start working with me, they either had no runway and they just come out and open their cart, or they only had like a few days to a week runway where they're promoting their launch event and they're talking about the things that, even if they know this, that they have to get their ideal client to believe so that they would actually say yes. So there's no warm up. There's no warm up phase. So this warm up phase is when you're promoting, you're generating your leads, you're getting to know people, you're nurturing people. Use me as an example. So we have our Launching Made Easy workshop starting on Monday, September the 21st. I've been promoting since last weekend. So it doesn't even start for another 13 days. I'm doing a Facebook Live right now on launching all week long. And last week, the only thing I've been posting about is launching. I'm in my runway right now. You want to do the same thing in yours. All right, point number 3. Let me adjust here. Point number 3 is consistent lead generation. I know this sounds like a boring one, but this is totally going to make your launches go from meh to mind-blowing. It is consistent lead generation. That means all year long. So if we always are talking to only the same group of people and you're making the same offers in front of the same group of people, at some point you're going to run out of people who are going to say yes. Now, you might be thinking in your mind, well, a lot of people coach that you don't have to have a huge audience, and then, which you don't. I don't have a big audience. My list is only 2,000 people. There's only 1,500 people in this Facebook group. I've done quite well with smallness, okay? So you don't have to have these ginormous numbers and you can do quite well. At some point, you've got to go bigger than that though. If you want to like keep going to like 7 figures, right? It's got to be bigger than that. Or you've got to like change your business model. So what the rationale with a lot of people is, and what happens to a lot of you, is you start creating new offers all the time. And so literally it's like every time your audience turns around, you've got a new offer. It's confusing. You can't ever get traction. You get a little traction in the very beginning. When a new something comes out, you'll have your initial buyers, but then it dies off and you never really sell hardly any of those again. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. And I'm just sitting over here like, well, if you would listen to me and if you would like stick to one doggone thing or like 2 at the most and just get really, really good at it, you'd already be at 7 figures by now. So you're going to slow yourself down massively. It's an illusion when you have that pop of people say yes in the very beginning and then it starts to die off. And then you're like, oh, but I'm so creative and I have all these ideas, so I'm going to go create this next thing. And then you have the buyers. And so it's like that dopamine hit all over again. And so you think that idea really works, but then it dies off. Well, the reason for that is because you're not actually allowing yourself to build out a marketing system, a sales system, and a delivery system, and a mindset system around that that actually works in your favor over and over and over and over again. So just think like this. Every time you create a new offer, it is equivalent to starting a brand new business. So however many offers you have, you kind of have that many businesses going. Now, once you get really, really good at all this, it doesn't feel like you have that many businesses. So consistent lead generation is critical for your launches, especially because the strategy we teach, you're always launching the same program. You launch the same flagship group coaching program every single time. I'm not saying that's the only thing that you can launch, but that's what we teach. And you're actually, you're teaching the same thing because you're becoming known for it in your actual 9-day launch. So lead generation in between your launches is critical. It's actually one of the biggest reasons why you're not making more sales, because you're not generating leads and you have no system and you have no plan to work every single week that is your specific lead generation system. There's not one right way. There's so many ways to generate leads. The problem is you're not following a system. You do not have a system or a plan or a structure in place so that every week when you approach your business, every day of the week, you know exactly what you're doing for lead generation, like freaking clockwork that doesn't even take you that much time. That seriously is what you're missing right there. And you probably don't have a strategy, because strategy also makes a really big difference. All right, number 4. Number 4, to take your launches from meh to mind-blowing, it's all about human connection. This is the thing that everybody talks about, but everybody is trying to avoid because we're so afraid of being rejected. And we tell ourselves we don't know what to say, or we tell ourselves, I don't want to sound salesy. I don't want to sound pushy. I don't want to sound spammy. I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't want them to not like me. I don't want to hear no. So guess what we do? We do everything possible to try to grow our business that has everything to do with creating distance, no pun intended, between us as the leader and the mentor or the coach and our audience, who then we think are gonna, wish I had a credit card. We're back. I don't know what happened there. I'm using Be Live. I'm not impressed recently. So it just like totally shut off my microphone and my camera. So we are back. Okay, I was talking about, let me go back, so I'm looking at my agenda. I was talking about human connection. So what I see a lot of people doing is they're doing anything to avoid connecting with people, like really connecting with people, being intimate with people. And that is what this launch strategy will do for you, the Launching Made Easy framework. It is super high touch. It is very low tech. It is all about two-way conversations and two-way engagement. It is completely based on you connecting with a human being. One of the biggest problems I am hearing from you all are telling me this. When I'm getting on conversations with people, I am literally, too bad about all the comments, I can actually see them in Be Live. I'll figure that out. So one of the things that I'm hearing from a lot of people is they are joining programs, and what they're actually finding out about the coach or the program is not what they would have signed up for had they known more about that person or about the program. And in the framework that I teach, people are joining the program because you literally cannot hide that many days. You cannot hold up a facade. You know, it's not pre-recorded. You don't have like a whole team here. You don't have a teleprompter in front of you, and you can't be anybody else than who you are. And because it's happening right inside of your Facebook group, that is really, really key for the human connection. So our whole framework that we teach is launched right inside of a Facebook group. But you're having conversation with people. You're asking them questions. They're responding back to you in real time versus a launch where everything is pre-recorded, everything is automated, there's sequences, and you're writing like 82 emails and all these slide decks and all these moving parts and pieces because you think that you need to look fancy, but nobody's actually getting to know you. Nobody's getting to know you. And I know. Our market has gotten a lot more sophisticated. People know when they're in a funnel. People know when you're reading off a teleprompter. People know when you're even using a filter on photos. They also know when you're being authentic and when you're being genuine. And people want to know that the reason why you are showing up and asking people to join your program is because it's you actually care about them. Yes, we're all business owners. Yes, this is how we put food on the table. This is how we make a living. The money exchange is the energetic exchange. The value you're giving, people are investing their money. Yes, part of this is how we are all making our money. We all have to make money. It's either build your own business or go get a job. One or the other. We've all chosen not to have a job. We've chosen to have a business. So money is a part of this. Yet what I'm seeing so many people doing in their businesses is they are just thinking about themselves and about how much money they can make, even though that is a part of the conversation we're having. But what they're doing is they're making their whole entire launch strategy about themselves, about their numbers, about hitting their goals. And when you're coming from that place from within you, your audience is going to know really, really quickly that it is not about them. They're going to feel it, they're going to hear it, and they're not going to say yes. So number 4 is human connection. That's really going to change the game of your launches. Last point here is position your framework as a new opportunity. So in your launches, what you are actually shining the spotlight on is your framework. The framework, meaning the process that you are going to walk people through and what has to be in place for that process to actually work really well for them once they're in your program. So you're literally going to show them, this is what we're going to do, but like on steroids in our program together. This is where you're going to get the most amazing results when we implement this together. But what people are doing incorrectly is you're not positioning your framework as a new opportunity. And here's what I mean by that. Number 1, none of us are buying anything that we don't believe is new and different. None of us. We're not buying anything that we don't believe is new and different. Number 2, your ideal client is someone who's already tried to get the result that you help them get, which means they've already tried other mechanisms. They've tried other coaches perhaps. They've tried other processes. They've tried other frameworks. They've tried other structures and strategies. So if you plop in and what you're presenting sounds and looks just like what they've already tried once or more than once, nobody wants to join a program if you're just going to try to fix the same thing that they've already tried before. They're not buying. Everybody's going to go seek out the thing that's like, oh my God, this is new. I haven't done this. This is why, like entrepreneurs, we buy shit all the time. We're buying shit all the time because the new opportunity is also kind of like another shiny object. Now, whatever shiny object you pick, you need to stick. Like, pick it and stick with it because it'll work. All the shiny objects work. They all work. Everything works. It's just people aren't plugging into one long enough. So you must position your framework as a new and different opportunity in your launches. Do that on day 1 or else you lost people for the rest of the week. So, quick little recap. We have talked about a lot today. We have talked about the 4 things that could be going like wrong in your launches. Not enough leads, not the right quality leads, not making enough sales, or not having a repeatable, proven, predictable process to follow. We talked about 3 pros and 3 cons to launching so that you're really aware of that. There's always pros and cons to everything. We talked about 4 main points. Number 1 is what must you What must your ideal client believe about your body of work so that they say yes and they join your program? That right there is literally what everything hinges on. I guarantee you, if I had a conversation with every single one of you in this Facebook group, that's probably the number one thing that you're not doing, because that is your guidepost for all your messaging and all your positioning all the time. All your content, it's that right there. You fix that piece and you will be selling. Number two, the thing that's going to really shift your launches is have a 3 to 4 week runway leading up to your launch. Don't just put all the eggs in the launch basket and think that as long as I just do this thing for 9 days and I open my cart and I close my cart and I do what Megan says, that I'm going to make all these sales if you don't have a 3 to 4 week launch runway. That is what warms people up. That is where a lot of the nurturing happens. That is also where a lot of the helping people overcome their subconscious beliefs that are holding them back, so that you are basically dismantling all the bricks in that belief baggage, so that when you get to the invitation to join your program, you've dismantled a lot of those bricks and they have a much lighter load on their back of belief when you invite them to join your program. Number three, we talked about consistently generating leads in between your launches so that you always have low-hanging fruit. Number four, we talked about human connection. You want to set yourself apart. You want to set yourself apart, just connect with people. Like, just craft your launches in a way that is built on engagement, that's built on conversation, that is built on relevancy, that is built on intimacy with your people, and they will work with you. And number five, we talked about, let me look at my notes here. I wish you could see it because I'm flashing it on the screen. We talked about positioning your framework, not necessarily you, but positioning your framework as the new opportunity. So here are your next steps. Obviously, we're talking about launching here, and the 5 things that I just shared with you, and a lot more, we teach A to Z in our Launching Made Easy workshop. And that workshop, I don't think I've actually run this particular workshop, which, note to self, was a big mistake. Learn from me. I did some other thing, followed the same framework, I just taught different things, but the Launching Made Easy framework works. We haven't taught that since January. I'm pretty sure January was the last one. I don't think I taught this in March. I think I did the momentum experience in March or something else. So Launching Made Easy is back. So we're going to spend the first 5 days, I'm literally breaking down A to Z, the entire Launching Made Easy framework, which is going to cover every single thing we talked about today and more. It's basically going to give you the solution to everything we talked about. And then we have extra days. So I go a full 9 days, but for you to get like the content, the information, if you just want to bounce after that because you like to get free stuff and leave, then you get it all in 5 days. And we have bonuses. I have bonus days. So I have bonus material on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and you'll get to hear about our program Momentum. We can even have a call about working together, but that'll come later. So your next step is sign up for the Launching Made Easy workshop. I will put a link in the comments below so that you can sign up for that. It starts on Monday, September the 21st, and it will go through this Friday, September the 25th with bonus days. And the cool thing is this exclusive bonus that we're doing. So me and my head coach, Elizabeth Galprin, on Wednesday the 23rd, we will do this in the evening, probably at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time. You only get access to this if you register though. So this is only going out to the people who register. We're gonna have a Zoom call, and we're gonna do a training and a Q&A on how to scale your group coaching program without sacrificing client results and client experience. That is actually one of the biggest objections I hear from people about starting group coaching programs, because they don't want to lose the intimacy. They want their clients to keep getting results, and they don't want to lose that client experience, that high touch client experience. And we've really figured that out inside of our programs. And Elizabeth is one of the people who works on our team who is really part of that whole client experience. And we're going to do a teaching on that. We're going to show you what we do inside of our Momentum program and teach you that, what that looks like, how that works. And you're also going to get to ask us questions and we can help you with your own business. So you only get access to that though by registering on the landing page for the Launching Made Easy workshop. So there you have it. That is our show for the day. Thank you so much for sticking with our technical difficulties here at the end. I'll go back and look at the comments on the other one, and if there were any questions, I'll go back and answer. And if you're catching the replay, hi, let us know and post any questions that you might have. And I'll see you next week for our show. All right, bye.